I've been there standing in a bike shop staring at a cheap fold-over for $20-something, convincing myself that it'll get me to work, and then, a week later, feeling that the motor sputters on the first hill, the battery dies after a couple of rides, and the cheap plastic frame rattles like a tin can. The regret that follows a bargain bin bike is almost always a mix of wasted money and a wasted weekend trying to fix something that should have just worked. That's why, when I started looking at the ANIIOKI 2026 A8 Pro Max, I asked myself the same question: is this the smarter buy that actually lives up to its headline-grabbing range, or is it just another overhyped model that will leave me wishing I'd spent a little more on a reputable brand? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The first thing that caught my attention was the claim of a 210-mile long range. In the e-bike world, range is the number that makes or breaks a purchase. Most mid-size commuters will see somewhere between 40 and 70 miles on a single charge, depending on rider weight, terrain, and assist level. The A8 60V removable battery is marketed as the reason for that massive distance. In practice, though, you have to think about how you actually ride. If you're a city commuter who hops on for a 15-mile round trip and then parks the bike at work, the extra capacity is essentially a safety net. You'll never get near the 210-mile mark, but you won't worry about range anxiety either. For a weekend adventurer planning a full day on gravel trails, the extra juice could be the difference between a full-day ride and an early return for a recharge. So, the value of that long range is really a question of usage patterns, not just the spec sheet. The A8's frame is built from 6061 aluminum, a material you'll find on many mid to high-end bikes. What makes it different here is the heavy-duty claim. In my test rides, the frame felt sturdy enough to handle a full cargo load, 2 grocery bags, a small child seat, even a roof rack for a picnic without the wobble you sometimes get from thinner alloy frames. That durability translates into real-world peace of mind for anyone who wants to use the bike for more than just a solo commute. If you're looking for a bike that can double as a workhorse for deliveries or a weekend hauler, the A8 actually delivers on that promise. Now, let's talk about the one-piece fat wheels. Those 4-inch wide tires come pre-mounted, and the biggest practical benefit I saw was the lack of broken spokes that can plague standard wheels after a few months of off-road abuse. On a mixed-terrain ride through a local park, the fat tires offered a surprisingly smooth ride over roots and mud, and they held up without a single puncture, thanks to the thick tread and the internal reinforcement. If you constantly ride on rough paths, gravel, or even city streets with lots of potholes, those wheels are a genuine plus. However, the downside is the added weight. Those wheels make the bike feel heavier at a stop, and you'll notice it when you're trying to lift it onto a bike rack or into a trunk. If you need a bike that you can easily carry upstairs or onto public transport, the A8's fat wheels could be a drawback. Hydraulic disc brakes are another area where the A8 tries to stand out. In the city, where you're stopping at every traffic light, the precise modulation gave me confidence that I could slow down without skidding, even in light rain. On a steep hill descent during a weekend ride, the brakes performed consistently, digging in without the squeal that cheap mechanical discs often produce. The only practical weakness I noticed was the need for regular bleeding a maintenance step that many casual riders forget. If you're not comfortable with a little brake upkeep, you might find yourself dealing with reduced performance after a few months. The smart technology claim is a bit vague on the official listing, but what it really means is an integrated display that shows battery level, speed, distance traveled, and an assist mode selector. In daily use, that screen is clear enough to read at a glance, and the assist modes range from a low-power eco setting to a full-throttle sport mode. The real benefit shows up when you're navigating hilly terrain. You can switch to a higher assist just before a climb, and then drop back down once you crest, conserving battery while still keeping your legs moving. The downside is that the display can't be customized. You can't add metrics like heart rate or GPS tracking without an external app, which some riders might find limiting. Who should buy the ANIIOKI A8 Pro Max? If you're a commuter who wants a bike that can also handle occasional cargo trips, a weekend rider who enjoys mixed terrain adventures and values a robust frame and puncture-resistant tires, Or a small business owner needing a reliable workhorse for short deliveries, this bike aligns well with those needs. It's removable.